A spot for locals to hang out and visitors to contribute some tax dollars has burned down in Nederland.
It's a big loss for us, but it's a building. People didn't die today, and that's amazing.
They're working without pay in an industry that keeps people safe.
It's a huge distraction. It's very degrading.
Dominion, the Denver-based voting machine company that faced false 2020 election rigging conspiracies, has been sold, and the new company is giving not-so-subtle nods to President Trump. And one of those class action settlements has resulted in a ridiculous amount of money for customers. Just how much? We'll find out next. Nederland. For some, a brief stop on a trip to look at some mountain colors. For others, home and livelihood. The Caribou Village Shopping Center greeted you as you entered Nederland, a two-story shopping center that, as of this morning, looks like this on the right side of the screen. Close to 20 businesses in the shopping center burned down this morning. This two-story structure on the south side of the center is a near total loss. The carousel building next to it only has minor damage. The grocery store on the east side was not burned, but is temporarily closed with smoke damage. The local businesses lost include a nature center, a music shop, and a yoga studio.
Knowing the building a week ago, what it looked like, the amount of destruction that this fire caused is shocking. And this is a significant financial resource for the town of Nederland. These are places, pizza joints, breweries, places where people in Ned hang out, and certainly the grocery store is a hub of the community. So having that much destruction is really going to be significant on the community.
Firefighters have been putting out hotspots throughout the day and will likely continue that work until tomorrow. They're asking residents to conserve water because they use so much and still need more to put out more fire. Name a job you'd be willing to do knowing that your paycheck will be delayed an unknown amount of time. I'll wait. Okay, name a job you'd be willing to do where any mistake could lead to people losing their lives, knowing that your paycheck will be delayed an unknown amount of time. As the government shutdown continues, air traffic controllers in Denver are keeping one of the busiest airports in the world, DIA, running without getting a paycheck. Mark Salinger provides some perspective.
To understand the stress that comes with being an air traffic controller,
You don't get the option to make mistakes.
we talked to Dave Riley.
I spent the last 6 years of my career at Denver Tower, and 9 years before that, I was at Denver Approach Control.
Dave worked at air traffic control in Denver the last time the government shut down back in 2019. For 35 days, controllers went without a paycheck.
Really, we're on the precipice of a huge impact to the system because of this shutdown. Air traffic controllers are under a huge amount of stress already, and then the added stress of not getting paid to do a job.
The shutdown 5 years ago was hard. Dave says this time it's different. It's even more challenging.
Over the last 5 years since the pandemic, the staffing has gotten so bad that controllers have been working 6 days a week for years.
The tower and approach facilities at Denver International Airport are down around 16 controllers, according to FAA data. The Denver Center facility in Longmont is down around 21. Now controllers are beginning to call in sick around the country. Dave says it's because of the stress.
You have to be in the right mindset to be able to focus on your duties as an air traffic controller. And if you're not there, if you don't feel like you're on your A game when you show up for work, you shouldn't be at work.
The government shutdown continues, and the stress doesn't stop.
You can be the best air traffic controller in the country, and you have one incident, and now you're the worst.
The FAA even has an attrition forecast for how many air traffic controllers they believe will leave each year because of the stress or other factors. In Denver, it's usually about 5 or 8% each year. Of course, it takes years to train replacements, making it critical to always have controllers in training. Right now, the academy to train them is still running through the government shutdown, but eventually, Marshall could run out of money and stop.
I'm sure the FAA is keeping track of who's calling out sick or how many people are calling out.
We tried to find out those numbers from the FAA of how many people are calling out sick each day here in Denver. That's kind of an impossible task right now to get from the FAA because immediately after you email the FAA media line or something, you just get a bounce back that says, hey, we're not working during the government shutdown.
The controllers work, but not the media relations folks.
At least not the people that I reached out to.
Got it. Thank you, Mark. A new report is raising concerns about how kids with disabilities are being treated at a Colorado treatment center. That report shows high uses of restraint at the Southern Peaks facility in Canyon City. Our Evan Krugel went there to find out why.
My son absolutely loves music.
A teenage boy's bedroom should be filled with plenty of scents and sounds.
The silence is almost deafening, if that makes any sense. Like, yeah,
For Brandy Fogel,
it's heartbreaking.
silence is not something she was used to in her Canyon City home, with twin teens, including 13-year-old Channing.
His smile, like, he has such a big heart.
But 3 years ago, Channing was diagnosed with autism and started acting violent, leading to a difficult choice in January to send him to a mental health treatment center.
It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. You know, that it does something to you when you have to make that decision on, I can't be selfish. I have to give him, what I feel is the best situation he can have at that time.
Brandy thought Southern Peaks Regional Treatment Center was the right fit until the reports
It's huge.
started coming in.
They could be anything from he walked out of the classroom to he was held down for 40 minutes.
The number of reports sent home saying Channing had been held down by staff members seemed alarming, so Brandy started filing complaints.
The rates and frequency that they're being used are concerning.
Emily Harvey and Disability Law Colorado have been monitoring Southern Peaks for the past 3 years, and today released a rare public report showing the Canyon City facility admitted to restraining youth between 75 and 150 times per month, well above the goal of 1 per day, and higher than restraints reported at youth detention centers.
It hurts. That's terrible. Kids should not be restrained like that. If I did that, I would be in jail. If I did that to my child. So why do other people get to do that to other people's children? That doesn't make sense to me.
According to the report, staff expressed that restraints are used to prevent self-harm or prevent children trying to run away. But kids here say staff are quick to jump to restraint rather than other types of de-escalation.
Changes have to happen.
Brandy has been trying to find a new treatment center for Channing, but says options statewide are limited.
I can't do anything. I'm still stuck between that rock and a hard place because I can't bring him home. But there's nowhere for him to go either. And it's hard.
She hopes staff here takes the report seriously and hopes her son can get the help he needs to one day bring sound back to this bedroom.
It'd mean everything. Because at the end of the day, that's all I want. I'm a single mom and I work and we have things happening. But ultimately, I want my family whole again. And that's a piece of me is missing right now.
That report also highlighted concerns over metal furniture in the bedrooms, as well as raw or undercooked food being served to kids. In a statement, Southern Peaks told us they remain committed to transparency and to delivering high-quality care to a uniquely complex population. They added they'll continue to collaborate with oversight agencies and welcome constructive input. Marshall, late today, the Colorado Department of Human Services told me they will be looking into this report to determine potential next steps.
The PR sound of that statement, other than hearing like, yeah, we were caught doing something, maybe we should do some other things, was that in the report at all?
It's really essentially they're trying to explain why those restraints are used in certain situations, but parents are saying that doesn't feel like something where my child should be restrained. So certainly lots of questions here, questions we may get answers to now that the state is investigating.
All right, thanks for staying on top of this, Evan, appreciate it. Dominion Voting Systems, the Denver-based voting machine company that faced false election rigging claims, the Denver-based voting machine company that most Colorado counties use for elections, the Denver-based voting machine company is no longer Denver-based. Dominion just sold. Dominion is now Liberty Vote. The CEO is a former Republican election director from St. Louis, and the company's initial comments are nods to President Trump and his executive order on elections, partly focusing on the use of paper ballots, which are used in Colorado. When you fill out a mail-in ballot, even when it goes through a machine, the former Dominion machine, it's still a paper ballot. Colorado uses Dominion machines, now Liberty Vote machines, in 60 of the state's 64 counties.
The voting systems certified in use for Colorado are accurate, they're secure, and people should have confidence in the results.
Do you still believe that hearing the sale to this Liberty Vote?
We do. I mean, you know, what makes Colorado great, Marshall, is that our laws and our processes, and quite frankly, our election officials do a great job to protect this system.
Matt Crane is the head of the Colorado County Clerks Association, and he has questions for the new owners of Dominion, but wants voters to be comforted in knowing that the machines are the same system and software overseen by Colorado law.
Colorado voters should feel very good about what we're doing here in Colorado, and we hope that the new ownership of the company will join us in standing up to push back on some of the disinformation and lies that have so permeated our election space over the last 5 years.
The disinformation Matt Crane references deals with the 2020 election rigging claims that resulted in loads of money for Dominion. Dominion settled a defamation lawsuit against Fox News for nearly $800 million, and another $67 million came from settling a similar lawsuit with Newsmax. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers are about to miss their first paycheck, but Congress is still getting paid, and there's a legal reason for that. And if you want to cash in on Park Mobile's latest settlement, be warned, you'll have to spend some money first. That's next. Tonight's next question comes from viewers Ann, Jim, and Doug. While essential workers like air traffic controllers are expected to work without pay for the duration of the government shutdown, why are members of Congress still getting a paycheck? Congress is still getting a check because they're guaranteed pay under the Constitution. That darn thing. Article 1, Section 6 says, quote, shall receive a compensation for their services to be ascertained by law and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. Same goes for the president. A small minority of federal employees will also get a check as long as they're paid through sources that don't have to be paid through by Congress. For example, postal workers are still getting paid because the Postal Service is mostly funded by its own revenue. Send us your next question. We welcome written, I prefer the video questions. We should see you asking these questions. So email that video or just the question to next@9news.com. You can also text NEXT 303-871-1491. Corey, what's your next question?
My next question is, should I stay in my lane or should I put some political commentary out here? So
I'll sit back and watch.
No,
let me find some popcorn.
Marshall, that would be the quickest way to get me benched. we don't want to see that. So I'm going to stay in my lane and stick to the weather. We had an 80-degree day. This is the results of today. The high temperatures reported across the state, 83 degrees in Denver. So this could be the last 80-degree day of the season for us. Now, usually after about October 15th, 80-degree days on the Front Range, pretty unusual. So we'll be kind of sticking in the 60s and 70s over the next 10 days. Lots of clouds tomorrow. This is the Denver forecast, getting those temperatures up to about 72 degrees. Not too much of a chance for any rain in the Denver metro area tomorrow, but we could get a little on Saturday morning. Here's the forecast high temperatures in the 70s, just really pleasant weather on the Front Range over the next 10 days. Cloudy and rainy in the mountains, especially on the western slope. We've got a 20% chance of some rain tomorrow, but it'll most likely be to the south and to the west of Denver. Maybe Saturday morning, catch a few showers, and then we're looking pretty nice. This temperature here on Monday morning, that could be our first 30-degree temperature of the season, but otherwise pretty boring and pretty pleasant weather for everyone.
I won't tell Corey that it says 40, not 39. For years on Next, we've recommended journalism and other work that isn't ours, but it is worth your time. We're expanding on that by bringing you a multi-part project called Matter of Fact. Short segments put together by a group of Coloradans passionate about defending good journalism and the First Amendment, which makes it possible.
Freedom of the press. It's the gift that keeps on giving. A gift given by complete strangers who trusted us to keep it in good care more than 200 years ago. Let's unpack that for a moment. Here in America, our freedom of the press is a foundation of our open society. It's been tested and contested throughout American history. And historically, freedom of the press has almost always won. Look around the world. We're lucky. Today, we live in a society where we can get at the facts openly and legally. But if that changes, we are all in big trouble. As a matter of fact, with a free and open press, we get to decide. When a government or anyone else decides what information we can and can't have access to, that decision, that freedom, is taken away and very, very difficult to get back. Facts are often uncomfortable, disagreeable, but facts do not change just because we don't agree with them. Today, in this information age of noise, it's easy to get overwhelmed, deceived, and misled. But try to remember, there are still good journalists out there, sifting through all of that noise, digging for the truth, and delivering it in meaningful stories to help us make sense of this crazy world we live in. That's a gift, and that's a matter of fact.
We will share more short episodes of A Matter of Fact each Thursday through early next month, when we'll air a documentary showing Colorado's journalists at work. You can learn more about the project on 9news.com/freepress. How much is your data worth to you? Wait until you hear the amount paid out in a parking app class action settlement. Customers of Park Mobile, a parking app, just received notice of a settlement payout after a data breach exposed user data. Consumer investigator Steve Steger walks us through the ridiculous amount of money.
What do you get if a company hoards a bunch of information about you, doesn't protect it the right way, it gets breached and put on the dark web? What's the settlement for that? Benjamins? Jacksons? Lincolns? Washington? I was impacted by a breach of a company called Park Mobile. So were 21 million of my closest friends. Park Mobile is an app that lets you pay for parking on some city streets and in some private parking lots. Back in 2021, they were hacked, and according to a lawsuit, someone put a spreadsheet full of people's personal information, stuff like email addresses, mailing addresses, license plate numbers, dates of birth. They put that spreadsheet on the dark web. So a group of people sued Park Mobile, and earlier this year, the company agreed to settle for $32 million. $9 million of that will go to claims made by people who say that their identities were stolen because of this breach. And $21 million of that will go to Park Mobile's 21 million other users who may have been impacted by this. Now, I'm no mathematician, but 21 million users and $21 million, that equals $1 per person. The 21 million of us impacted by this got an email from Park Mobile this week. It goes out of its way to mention that a court never found Park Mobile liable for any of this. It's a discount code for $1, but there's a catch. You can only use 25 cents of it at a time. To park in this lot on the Auraria campus, it would cost $7.43. But with that discount code, I could do it for $7.18 4 times. So if you've ever used Park Mobile, check your email. We might have just saved you $1 over time. For Next, I'm Steve Steger.
I'm checking my email and your feedback next. 2 comments about the journalism on Next in someone's absence. Just a note from William in Littleton about the journalists and staff at Next. Though Kyle is roaming the halls of the Great American Beer Festival, the show does not miss a beat. A cohesive staff of professionals throughout. And a text that says, maybe they should call the show Next with Kyle Clark and Friends. Well, the friends will see you next time.